You're watching Roots TV Nigeria. This is Checkmate. With just a few days to the general elections, we are hearing a lot of endorsements for the different candidates. First of all, we heard the Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka endorsing Kingsley Moghalu of the YPP. And then we heard the embattled, would I use the word, SDP, Social Democratic Party, the faction that had Donald Duke as its presidential candidate, endorsing President Muhammadu Buhari, even though Donald Duke himself has distanced himself from the party SDP. Another endorsement that we heard was from the red card movement for the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. Now, if you have never heard of the red card movement, it is simple. It's just a basic endorsement. However, if you know the red card movement, you would probably be very shocked at this, because one of the things that the red card movement is known for is giving a red card to, according to them, in one of the conversations I've heard them, is giving a red card to these recycled leaders, the same old leaders which, of course, they say President Muhammadu Buhari and the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar falls into. So you would be shocked after all of that, after all of the whole campaign about getting rid of the old ones, they go right ahead and endorse Atiku Abubakar. Well, to find out the reason they did that and a whole lot more surrounding this, we have them right here in the studio. I'm starting with the co-chair in the person of Dr. Tony Akubona. Welcome, Dr. Tony.
Thanks for having me.
And we have the Kogi State champion, like you rightfully call that. That is Opalua Eleojo, Comrade Opalua Eleojo. I got that right. Okay, so Dr. Tony, please explain this to us, because for a lot of people who know the red card movement, they will say this is pretty hypocritical. You go round after all of these months to endorse one of those people you say you want to get rid of. Why?
Thank you. Those that they could be right if they say hypocritical, yeah. But since election is next week, it will be rhetorical and also non-strategic if we just keep dancing around the circle without advising citizens and our followers what to do when they get to the battleground, which is the polling unit.
What led to this? Because we know that, of course, your founder, one of your major champions and patrons, Obi Ezekwesili, who's obviously having a problem with her party ACPN, and she has dropped out of the presidential race. You're having issues with her because that's how it looks, because she basically said she is working to create a coalition candidate. And then the red card movement that she helped to create has gone off to endorse Atiku Abubakar. So what's going on with your relationship with your founder?
Okay, well, when you talk about a coalition, I can tell you that when the presidential candidate for ACPN, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, yeah, well, okay, well, I mean, where we are now is that the red card movement, even when she stepped aside, we have been working on the coalition. You remember we worked with 5 other civil society organizations in August to midwife the SOTA, Summit of the Alternatives. After the SOTA, of course, we kept on working. Along the line, there was a program called PACT that came up. PACT presidential aspirants coming together. And that was not our baby. We didn't know anything about it, but of course, Obi was there as an observer. At the end of the day, it went bad. That affected our credibility, because people were thinking that, oh, this was a scam that were behind it.
Red card movement was part of the problem with PACT.
But we don't have anything to do with PACT. That is a fact. You know, but after it, we continued. We continued. We kept on I mean, when she stepped into the ring, even before she stepped in, we were interfacing with an alternative presidential candidate.
So you weren't entirely backing her when she stepped into the ring for presidential candidacy?
No, there is no way we would have backed her, because if we got to the point of shortlisting candidates, it's a process. You understand?
I see.
Yeah, it's a process. What we do is that we have nothing to do with sentiments, while we look at their criteria we set out. Leadership criteria. We look at leadership criteria, then we look at the policy document of the party. Then we also look at how on ground the parties are. There are things we laid out, and as a movement, we went to town. We're interfacing with eminent citizens, including Professor Wole Soyinka, Emeka Anyaku. So many of them, we interfaced, met with them. Dr. Christopher Kolade, to get ideas from them. What should we do?
And at the end of that, you agreed that Atiku Abubakar was
at the end of the day, I can tell you that the alternative candidates and political party, we realized that they were even frustrating it. Yes, because we discovered that some of them are actually puppets of the ruling party or the opposition.
Part of the people who were either coalescing with Red Card and part of your members also were doing something completely different from what your policy and what your vision is. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, what I'm trying to say is that the alternative candidates,
okay.
right?
Okay.
When you get people together for a coalition, and you get Mr. A saying that I must be the candidate. I am the only one that can be. Right? They don't want to go subject themselves to a process. All right? People tell you that, you know what? Go and endorse me. All right? Go ahead. It doesn't work like that. Now we got to the point of using an online. We did an online poll. All right? And we shortlisted 4. Before,
who were the 4 you shortlisted?
Kingsley Mohalo,
2,
Feladro Toye,
3,
Owoile Shore, and Obi Ezekwesili.
Okay.
Those were the 4.
Okay.
Now, from that point, we're supposed to go further, all right? But then I said, you know, let us try and allow citizens to take a decision, look at their policies and decide. Now, see what happened from there. We have members, some of us that are co-conveners anyway, co-conveners, most of us are either not in the country or we are just on social media. The people that are on the ground are state champions. We had a meeting with our state champions and they said election is around the corner. We must take a stand.
What about taking a stand of asking people to vote based on their conscience, based on what they believe in, and not entirely endorsing? Were you under any obligation to endorse anybody?
I'll tell you why that endorsement came.
I'm just asking, were you under any obligation to endorse a candidate?
We were under obligation to endorse. You know why we're under obligation to endorse? Because they also realized that based on empirical data, empirical facts and evidence on the street, the ruling party, which of course was how we came to birth anyway, the ruling party has delivered bad governance and irresponsible leadership. So we must focus. If we don't encourage people to vote out this current president, we have failed basically.
So everything was really about voting out this current
president. Bad governance, bad government. This leadership has delivered.
I have heard on several occasions the Red Card movement saying they want to not just get rid of bad governance or the current administration, but get rid of the same set of leaders who have continued to be recycled, of which the PDP presidential candidates on several occasions you have put under the umbrella. So how is it that you have gone round and found him credible to be endorsed?
You are correct. Now, based from our mission and vision, we never said we're demonizing anybody. We looked at APC and PDP.
So I have listened before this conversation. I've listened to a lot of other conversations and interviews that the Red Card movement has had, and you've been very passionate about these things. It felt like I have had
on my own personal as a co-chair, I've had several TV interviews on different stations. At no point would I ever say on TV that there's red card to Buhari or Atiku. Like the word Butiku didn't come from it, didn't come from Red Card women. It came from the Dr. Ezekwesili. That's her project.
But she's part of you.
No. At that point, she had resigned her leadership and membership. Clearly, yeah.
Well, you see, that's a funny thing. A lot of people didn't even know that.
It was made public. It was made public. We issued a press statement. It was covered by the media.
I see.
So the point. So there's no mix-up. The Red Card ab initio was against APC and PDP. And why did you do that? Because this was the old political. But we realized something. Like you see what's happening now in SDP now. For example now, if you look at people that had been in APC and PDP, we looked at it. There are people that are good citizens. You would have been able to, you have the 3 C's, you have competence, you have capacity and character. What we're doing, it was our mistake, and we can't be fixed on a mistake.
So you basically said that all of the things that the Red Card movement was about was a mistake.
Not everything.
But a lot of things that the Red Card
movement... No, we corrected, during our first anniversary, what we did was that our mantra, red card to APC and PDP, we adjusted and issued a public statement that is now red card to bad governance and irresponsible leaders. Because then we are safe. You know why? Because you cannot demonize a party. There are good Nigerians that can get into PDP and APC, and there are bad Nigerians equally that can be in the alternative parties.
I want to bring you into this conversation because I have on several occasions heard Red Card movement and your representatives not just talk, you have talked not just about the people but about the parties on various occasions. So it is shocking to me that Dr. Tony, you are now saying that there are good people in these parties that you have as an umbrella body, as Red Card movement said you want to send away. That's why I used the word hypocritical. Talk to me about this. I'm going to direct a question to you and you might as well answer it. Some people have said you were paid for this. Some people have said, I'm bringing it straight up to the table. Some people have said that shortly after your relationship with Obi Ezekwesili ended, you went shopping for who it is that who would be the highest bidder, who was going to pay you and who was going to, I don't know, get you into their government or give you something when they actually do win. And that the best offer came from Atiku. I am saying to you, this is what I heard is an allegation. What is your response to that?
Can I just take it on?
Please, I want him to start. It's an allegation, yes, but yes, that's
Can
your
you
answer.
prove it? No. As my coach just said, we are the men on the field, the field marshals. We are 36, covering the federation, and FCT making 37. There is no political party today, as it is, that can dislodge the APC. The APC is on ground, is an incumbent. You cannot take away the strength of an incumbent from politics, especially on the African continent. Nobody paid us. Paid us for what? What we are doing is patriotism. We want to rewrite the history of Nigeria.
Why did you start from the very beginning of Red Card Movement? Why did, from the very beginning of Red Card Movement, you wanted to send a red card to APC and PDP and to recycling of the same set of leaders? Why did you have to change few days to the elections when it seemed like all the other options were no longer viable? Do you see why it seems suspect what your actions are? It feels like you have gone shopping, or right now you need to pitch a tent somewhere. You need to get in bed with someone, because right now you have been very much like a vocal voice for the other opposition. Now you need to clean your tent properly. So, yeah.
Let me correct this question. In the life of every organization, change is a constant.
I see.
2-3 months back, we celebrated our 1-year anniversary. And we say it's no longer red card to APC and the PDP, but red card to bad governance.
What informed
which the APC represents.
Okay, I'll tell you what represent that. You know, coming to, let's just look at issues. When you're in a relationship, right? Red Card Movement said red card to APC. I was part of those that were signatories to that mantra, red card to APC and PDP. And we went to town. We were very vicious. I was on TV saying, no, APC and PDP cannot. People attacked us. Why are you attacking the parties? But at a point, in the life of an organization, a man, you step aside and look. And you are in sync with reality, right? Now, when we say not demonizing a party, we are not saying, now the candidate we are endorsing, all right? Now, PDP, the candidate there is that we never at any point in time gave a red card to a person, right? Now we've looked at the policy document of PDP, APC, we've looked at YPP, we've looked at everybody. And when you talk about people giving us money, you know, those that give that accusation, you know what I tell them? They don't have the grace of commitment. Because someone like me, I can tell you, I'm the only member of Red Card Movement.
May I ask you a question? Yeah. Let's talk about the longevity of this cause, Red Card Movement. Because with all due respect, for you to change your stance right now, very close to the election, some people would really say is a dent on the authenticity of your group. Are you going to last after these elections? Are you going to be able to come out 2023? Are you going to come out to be able to say we are the voice for against bad governance and now monitors for good governance after you have done something of this nature, which people might find suspect? Do you not worry about the longevity of this party and the authenticity of your organization? Let me call it that.
You know why we will not be worried? Because we would have proved that we are extremely strategic and deliberate, all right? By the time our primary focus now, as majority of members of Red Card Movement, our primary focus is Buhari must go, and that people should vote the ticket of Atiku Obi.
What if, I'm sorry, just playing the devil's advocate here. I mean, it's a level playing field. Right now, the exit polls are saying it is neck and neck for all intents and purposes. But what if? What if Buhari does return? What happens?
If Buhari returns, which we are not ruling out, although we know he's not going to return, but if he does return, it's simple. Whether he returns or not, what Red Card Movement will focus on, which will re-strategize for members that are coming, is that simple. Let's be a watchdog for bad governance.
I see.
Because at the end of the day, if it is any party, YPP, PDP, APC becomes a ruling party, all right? And you know the reason why we cannot begin to say why red card to APC and PDP is not sustainable. People should just stop being myopic. You must change your stance when you make a mistake. If YPP becomes the leader of the party, now we are now monitoring, are we going to now say red card to YPP? It doesn't make sense. So you say red card to bad governance and irresponsible leadership. So we are safe, home and dry. Our first time, we issued a statement. So we are watchdog.
We're almost done with the conversation, but I want to ask you once again, why Atiku Abubakar? I mean, you had already said that there are some good people in some parties that you have said weren't doing very well, and you had looked at various parties' manifestos and their mandates. And most importantly, what I heard you say, you spoke to the citizens. You listened to the citizens, and right now you've got 36 representatives in 36 states and the FCT. So now that you have listened to all of the different citizens or your members in these areas, you have decided Atiku is the way to go.
I'll tell you why. Now, if you look at the policy document which you have studied, we set up a team that looked at it. The PDP, the YPP, they have very brilliant documents. I can tell you, more of capitalist entrepreneurship thing, privatization. But apart from that, they are very clear on restructuring. Because most Nigerians feel that the only way Nigeria can make progress is to restructure this country. These are the two parties. I'm talking about YPP and PDP. These are the two parties that are very clear on their program for restructuring. Now, we looked at that. They probably score equal marks. But we look at what is on the ground, being strategic now. We go around the entire 36 states of FCT, 774 local governments, and all the other polling units. The people that are on ground, are PDP. So you know what? When they are on ground, then we look at these ones have better chance of dislodging the APC, right? What we would have wanted, like we are proposing, is that, if only everybody can get together. What has stopped that is that some of us kept on demonizing PDP and we're not involving them in the coalition. It would have been a grand coalition against the government that has failed.
But a lot of people would have said that involving PDP in the coalition, PDP wants the coalition involved with the PDP, not PDP getting involved in the coalition. Do you understand? They're the big umbrella. You come
that's not the thinking. That's not the thinking. Even if we have never had a meeting with those that say that I seated here, I've never had a meeting with Atiku Abubakar. I see him on TV.
I was about to ask you.
No, I have met Kingsley Mohalu, right? Because we go around to meet people. We spend our resources. You know, I was telling you that time before we started in coalition, if we could spend our resources before the SOTA, me seated here, I've done return flights, paid my tickets, returned 30 return flights, and I've had nights in hotels, 70 hotels from my pocket. That's my sacrifice. People don't have that grace, but I have that grace to spend my money for what I believe in. It's about Nigeria. If I can spend so much money for red card movement, going around the country for rallies, it is myopic for anybody that will say the same fellow that spends so much money for 1 year going around the country is now needs somebody to give him money.
Some people say it's an investment. Politics is investment. You're gonna with all due respect, some people say it's an investment because a lot of people are investing money into politics with the hope that somebody.
You know what I'm investing money?
And when that person wins, they probably get a political position or they get a contract to reimburse and say, get that money back.
You know my investment?
I'm listening.
My investment is for a new Nigeria of our dream, where the government can be seen to be on the check. You realize something? 2015, we unseated a sitting president. 2019 is going to happen again. So our democracy is getting stronger. So when they see that red card is a watchdog, we are good, we are home and dry. So it's not about Atiku. Nigerians should focus and take out this president. And what we have done now, the endorsement we gave to Atiku Obi yesterday that went viral is real. Because look at this, you saw them, they are here now. Yeah, look at them, they are here, they are doing now. All of them, 33 state champions came into Abuja for the purpose. They came down on, they've been doing that, spending their money to come down. Say, you know what, this is what we want. The others that could not come, like the man from Lagos, is addressing Catholic youths. He said he wants to, once our endorsement goes forward, he will tell them what to avoid.
Finally, what's your relationship with OBS right now? Are you on talking terms? Are you talking with her? Are you going to work with her in the future? Or is this relationship dead and gone? Remember, she created this movement.
You see, professionals don't get personal. I am a medical doctor, I'm a professional. Dr. Obieze Kwesili is a wonderful fellow, wonderful lady with so much, she's a hard worker. Wonderful lady. There is no way I will see Obieze Kwesili anywhere and will not say hello to her.
Now I'm talking about the red card movement and their relationship.
No, the red card movement is a voluntary organization. If, for example, now after the election now, we now say we want to look at red card movement again, should we remain as a watchdog to bad governance or whatever? People say now it must be red cards to APC or YPP or whatever. You know what we say? You know what? Majority will carry the vote. Minority can never stampede majority.
So if they say she has to come back, that's the end of the story.
If say she has to come back, why not?
I see.
But majority is not. Listen, Dr. Obi will tell you, Red card, she's a a due process lady. Red card woman is not her personal property.
I see.
Majority will carry the day.
I see.
That's how it works.
A big thank you to you, Dr. Tony Akoboda, for talking to us. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you very much for talking to me. And I wish you all the best of luck, even as we approach the elections. You have heard the representatives of the red card movement. Do me a favor. Go to the comment section of this video and give me your thoughts. Give us your thoughts on the conversation we just had right here. I hope you had your PVC. It's been extended. The collection has been extended to Monday. That is the 11th of February 2019. Please go get your PVC. Presidential elections, Saturday, the 16th of February. You cannot afford to sit on the sidelines. You've been watching Checkmate here on Roots TV Nigeria. My name is Gloria Oji.